Okay, this is the main tomato bed in my garden. Got 7 early girls, some green onions, some parsley at the back. Um, Due to our strange, should we say, start to the spring, they were a bit longer than I expected growing, but they're developing now. Several tomatoes on each, and looks like they're doing okay. Gonna train them to the strings, 1-2 liters tops, and see how they do. On the end here, it's some sweet basil. First time trying to seed that. And these are some green onions that I actually bought from the grocery store, clipped them, and I said, what the hell, we'll try regrowing them. And so far, they're springing back very nicely. Okay, on to the next one. This is a bed that I call the L bed. So I'll step back here. It's got 3 different trellises on it. The idea being, going to be training zucchini vertically right here. See how that goes. That'd be kind of cool. It kind of looks like a palm tree by the end of the summer. And we got some chives, of course. They're doing really strong this year. Already picked them 3 or 4 times. Then we got a mixture of some peas and some acorn squash. Going to grow in the corners, up the center. They're just nicely going. Peas are all in flower. And you got some parsley. It's starting to develop nicely. I already harvested some of that. There's some more peas here, and there's 3 cucumbers coming up the back. That's the bed I call the L bed, just because of its shape. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. Little bed in the corner here I use for like cherry tomato. That's a Sweet 100, I believe. Just nicely starting to get going. It's got some tomatoes at the bottom there. And last year I had one of these tomatoes, and it actually produced over 800 tomatoes. I was shocked. Couldn't believe it. There's another early year here. Got some radishes in the corners. They seem to be not doing too great at the moment, but it's a little bit of experiment to see if I can get an extra couple things out of that box. And the pot sitting around the outside, that's just some sweet basil that somebody gave me. I thought, what the hell, I'll try to germinate it, see if it'll work. We'll see. This bed here is for my Cortland onions. There's like 68 of them or something like that. Not quite as big as I would have hoped by this year, but the multiple leaves is a good sign. So we'll see what they turn out like at the end of the summer. This is my beet bed. Initially I'd planted some garlic in there, but it failed. So backup plan was beets, and they're coming along nicely. They're about 1 inch across so far. This here bed is for my kale. I got some parsley, peas, chives, and some hot peppers going in there. Jalapenos are starting to turn. This is my peaches and cream corn. First year trying to grow corn. Probably a little closer than ideal spacing, but I had limited means, so I thought I'd give it a try. And this is the peaches and cream, like I said. So we're hoping for something to come out of it, and enjoy a nice barbecue at some point through the summer with them. And then back here, just got a couple sunflowers started. see if they amount to anything. And I just got a compost pile that I started this spring. Starting to break down, but not there obviously yet. This is my carrot bed. I think there's about 300 carrots planted in there this year. We'll see how they do. This location isn't the best. When I placed this bed, I first hadn't really experienced any gardening yet and kind of made a big mistake. I should have put it a few more feet in one direction or another. And but as such, we got a shed and some trees and stuff like that shade it, so it's a little shadier than I'd like to see for a good part of the day. But we did get some carrots out of it last year, so here's hoping. Even a little harvest is better than nothing. So go on. And here we got some Royal Burgundy bush beans, just nicely starting to come up. Looks like some bush beans, just nicely starting to come up. Looks like some flowers are developing. And on my, turn this around here. On my bean trellis here, a little hard to see in this light, but we got 3 different kinds of beans. We got some scarlets on the outside ends, got some green on the front and yellow on the back. So there's 3 different kinds of flowers, white, yellow, and red. So when this all comes out in flower and everything, that just look really nice and pretty. And there's some green arrow peas. They're nicely coming out in flower now. Last year had some that were over the top of this 5.5 foot trellis. Did quite well until some storm damage. So this year, trying this some of this green support wire in some cases. So I had used another type of wire that was not as coated last year, and it caused stalk damage and ended up losing my crop from it. Weakened the plant, ended up with powdery mildew, and it was a hell of a mess at the end, so that was on me. So trying something a little different this year, see if it helps. And here we got a little bit of cauliflower and a few turnips over here. But I planted these 4 plants out of the same seed package, and this guy in the corner was kind of a mystery. Not 100% sure what it is yet, but it's obviously not the same thing as the other 3, and it's not what the package said, so should be interesting. Heard some people suggest it might be a Brussels sprout. If that's the case, I might have to move it to another location because that's going to be too big, but we'll see what it starts to look like. I don't know. Okay, across the yard over there by the window, that's my rhubarb bed. I've already gotten quite an armload of rhubarb this year, and it's going amazingly well. Put a layer of manure on it last year, and a little bit of mulch, and man, did it take off this spring. So obviously it must have liked that. In this pot here we have some brandywine tomatoes. Gonna do into a single liter string. It's funny because I had these downstairs. I even posted in some of the groups I'm part of, and they started out great, then they really started looking shitty, and I honestly thought they were dead meat. Put them outside, give them a little shot of fertilizer with hope, and a little bit of rain, sunshine later. All of a sudden they started to get some green leaves back, and within 2 or 3 weeks we got this. And honestly, they're probably some of my healthier looking tomatoes, so you never know, eh? Don't give up on them until they truly die, because they might surprise you sometimes. up here in the baskets. That's a part of my strawberry collection. I think I got about 30 or 40 some plants in total. You know, we really enjoyed the strawberry harvest last year, and lesson learned, I tried to store them this past winter because we have a really harsh winter outside in the one underneath one of the beds, and I give them lots of straw, figuring I was giving them, you know, lots of insulation. And long story short, the waterlogged straw held ice, which blocked my drainage holes, which backflooded the water that developed over the winter, and I lost a great majority of my plants. So all these ones are year-old plants, and we're basically starting over again, and I've got a different plan in place for the winter, so hopefully that don't happen again. And in this bed here, we got 6 bell peppers in here, California Wonders I believe they are. And then in the front row there, that's more radishes, just trying to maximize their usage. And then this bunch here, that's celery. I use quite a bit of it in different cooking and stuff like that, and got a couple of different little patches of it. This is the main one. And then we got a head of romaine lettuce here, which is just about ready to be picked, I believe. It's looking good. I already took one romaine out of there a couple days ago. The smaller lettuce you see in the front, that's Barilla lettuce. And right now that big guy's kind of overshadowing them, so once I get him out of there, they'll probably develop a little better. I got more seeded downstairs. We'll be starting to bring them up before too long, and hopefully that when these guys are being harvested, I got another plant to pop in there, and away they go again. So there's no wasted time or space. Here's another section of my strawberry collection. You know, a few more plants there. All the ones on the table there are all the ones I was able to recover from last year after that fiasco. Then there's an extra brandywine tomato that so far I haven't found a location for. It's gonna have to get in the ground soon though. Mother's Day flowers that I got from my mother, and they just about died right after I got them because they didn't even have them in soil. So I replanted them in a mix I made up, and as you can see, they're doing quite well. Snapdragons and that. And then this is a little experiment. The avocado. Started from seed, and actually it's looking really beautiful, nice little plant. So we're thinking maybe try to keep it as a house plant. I'm not really interested in growing the full-size tree, we just don't have the space. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, this bed here, I have 2 beds out the front of the house. They're north side of the house, so the sun is quite limited. So I'm trying some of the more shade tolerant crops just to see if I can utilize it at all. Last year had limited success. This year so far, this particular cabbage is looking really nice. It's already starting to head. You know, so I'm hopeful I'm going to get something this year. A little bit of damage on the spinach there at the back, but you know, it's starting to develop there. Another cabbage, got some lilies, some more spinach there, 2 more heads of cabbage, and that's some more celery down there, starting to develop nice. This celery, or cabbage, sorry, in particular, was attacked pretty bad by snails at one point, so, or slugs. So I put some treatment stuff down for that, and since it really hasn't got any more damage, so I'm hoping that it can recover. All that damage happened in like 1 or 2 nights. So it's kind of disappointing, but you know, we'll see if it can recover. On we go. This is the other bed over here. Same idea. All the shadier crops. Some red romaine in 3 or 4 spots here. Starting to develop nicely. Got some more spinach in there. Without investigating, I'm not really sure what that damage is. But you know, it's just kind of hit and miss on these beds to begin with. A little more red romaine. There's a Hostin lily in there for a mix. That's some burl lettuce that I planted. A little bit more parsley in here. Some more romaine. And some Swiss chard. They're starting to develop nice. You know, we planted 9 of them, and they are all surviving. And a couple leaves die off, a couple leaves that were attacked, but for the most part, they're doing pretty good. And like I said, this corner especially only gets maybe 3-4 hours of sun a day at max. So if I can get anything out of it, you know, that's a bonus. And although they're dying off now a bit, this corner here is my rose bush. It gateways the pathway there. And then in the front yard here, we got it's a small dwarf plum tree. And there's 3 different little kinds of hostas in there. And 3 bee balms lining up beside them there. Eventually this will be taken out to a much larger circle, and I'm going to be doing concentric rings of different bulbs and plantings of a perennial flower garden. So you know, it should be one hell of a display of color out here come next year or the year after. So we'll see. Thanks for watching.